Welcome to another Teacher Tobin tutorial. Today I would like to assist music teachers and give you an idea for a lesson. You're going to use GarageBand with your students to create a Philip Glass modern classical composition, and it's super easy and it can really impress the students. They'll be so surprised at what they can achieve in a 90-minute class period. So over 2 periods I would suggest doing this. So I'm going to show you a final version, just an idea, and then we'll walk through how to make it. While doing some research, I stumbled across this website, guitarcenter.org, and I found this triadic chord progression based on the film from Mishima, which is a Philip Glass composition. So I took that chord progression, put it into GarageBand, and you can see G, A flat diminished, added some effects here, echo and reverb, and some compression in there. And once I edited the chords in that progression, A, and then A sharp diminished, and then B minor, G, B minor, and then B diminished, and those loop round. You've actually got a very Philip Glass sounding chord progression there. And this is where you can embellish a little bit. So I put a 3-octave 16th note arpeggiator on there, sustain on, had that reverb and echo up, and just using the stock grand piano sound. And then you can see using the dynamics and going sort of up and down, you can actually create a really nice effect. If you touch the top where the note name is, you can just get a sort of straight hit with the smart chord, or you can just use your finger to go up and down. So once you've got your basic piano part in there, you can then ideally you'd have to probably edit it afterwards, because if your finger sort of hit the button a bit late, you might have to sort of move some of these up, or use the quantize feature, which is what I did. I put a quantize on 1/16 notes, but you want a bit of a looseness to this as well. If it's too on the beat, I think it will start to feel quite robotic, so it's good to have a bit of a looseness. So it's in 4/4, it's in the key of C. And you can play around with the tempo later on. Obviously the quantize is on 1/16 in this case, and then you've got your basic part. Then you can start to embellish. So with your students, any instrument in GarageBand which has the smart strings, the smart chords, the chords will stay from what you just put in, and then you can play around with the dynamics here, do different strings, or just click the top notes for a sort of straight hit. And you can do the same with the strings. The strings are really nice. You can do a sort of stab at the top, or you can just swell by just sort of wiggling your finger in the middle, and that can produce a really interesting sort of swell sound with the orchestral hits. And then you could really just go to town with some of the other instruments. I mean, you could even add some of those the new sort of Asian instruments in there, the erhu, for example, or the guzheng. But I think that the French horn really started to add the character. Now, obviously, that's not with smart strings. But this, if this lesson was at the end of a unit about chord theory, if you do sort of root 3rd 5 or root flat 3rd 5 for minor chords, and you're working out structures, you could, and you went through the fretboard, for example, and the students knew about placements of half steps and the difference between a step and a half step. And you gave them the sort of the starting notes, G and then A flat, and all that kind of thing, going up in half steps and with the diminished chords. Then you could have your advanced students really embellish on this. So I added some little sort of motifs using the keyboard at the end, but for more basic. A more basic project, you could just use the smart strings. Anyway, I hope this tutorial helps. I know it's quite a kind of whiz through of the concept, but I suggest taking about 90 minutes. So if you've got a block schedule, you might take 2 40 minutes or even 2 45-minute classes, but about 90 minutes is needed, maybe a homework in between. But the students will be, none of them will believe that they can create that sound at the beginning of the lesson. And the beautiful thing about this lesson is that at the end, they get really excited because they produce something that sounds epic. Anyway, do feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts below, and any improvements or future references. Let me know. Okay, thank you for listening.